Hey guys, it's Amy at Zoe Beck, and I'm going to do my weekly reading update for November 1st of 2020. So, oh my god, I can't believe we're in November. And that even though it seems like October went pretty fast just because I was so busy with stuff at work and stuff, and it just kind of went by fast, it felt like. I still can't believe we're still in 2020, so... I know the next couple days are probably going to be really rough for us in the US. I'm not quite sure what's going to happen on Tuesday, so we'll see what happens. If you have not voted yet, please vote. That to me is one of the biggest things, is people just need to make their choices, and I know we have to live with them, but at least I can say I've voted and I've cast my vote and done what I need to do. So please do that if you have not done it already. Anyway, that's the only thing I want to say about that. So this last week, I had kind of a meltdown at the end of my Victober, which was kind of sad. I did finish one more book for Victober this week, and then my brain just went, we are done. I finished 11 things for Victober, so I'm very proud of my work in that. Again, I did a lot of, I didn't read anything that was gonna be a favorite forever kind of thing, but I did read a lot of books that I'm glad I got to or experienced, or in different ways. So overall, I think Victober was a success. I'm still in the middle of an audiobook, which I'll talk about, but I just have to get it done the next week because I have the audiobook from the library. So I'm hoping to finish it this week, but I'll explain why I haven't finished that one. And of course, you probably already know which one that is. Anyway, so we're going to talk about the books that I read this week after I finished the last Victober book, and then what I think I'm going to read in the next week, because we are now in Nonfiction November. So I'm super excited for this next readathon, which is ridiculous that I go from 1 month long to another, and I'm excited again. So, but this, I just want to put it out there, like Victober, I really tried to just read Victorian literature, and I wrote really well for 3 weeks. Then I kind of crashed and burned. So Nonfiction November, I already think there's at least going to be a couple of fiction books that I'm going to read in the month. So it won't be 100% Nonfiction November, because first of all, I have to finish a book that I'm in the middle of that I want to finish really bad today. So, I'm not going to be 100% in November, but I also as I said, I think I just need to know that even in the month-long readathons, I need to take a break and read other stuff. I'm very much a mood reader, which is the book that I picked up yesterday, which I'll talk about, but it's just, I had kind of I had a video out, what am I talking about, whatever, number 11, that talked about that of how I love month-long readathons, giving me all that time to work on the books that, for that, but I also find that I cannot go 100% on anything, because I need to switch it up. Anyway, because I am a mood reader at heart. As much as I would love to schedule my reading, which I've talked about a lot, is I love to schedule stuff, but I can't read to that all the time. So anyway, so let's talk about the books that I finished. The first one I finished on Sunday is I finished Wagner the Werewolf by George W.M. Reynolds. This was a penny dreadful, started in 1847. I'm not sure how long it ran, but it was quite a long one, probably a couple of years. Oh my gosh. So this is the most... As I said, I read this because of Kate Howe. I think she hauled it last year sometime, and I picked it up, or had it on my wish list for many months. And then I think I bought it at my birthday. I think I decided to spend the extra money. I spent it earlier this year. I don't remember when I got it. So I've been looking forward to it for November, or for October. This was going to be one of my reads, and it was. And so it was a 615 page book. So again, I picked up 2 really big Victorian books, which I'm proud of that I got through those, but whatever. These took me most of the month. As I said, I didn't finish it until Saturday, last Sunday. So it took me like 25 days to read, because I read a little bit of it here and there, and then I would take a week off, and then I read a whole lot on the weekend, and then I took another week off, and then last weekend I was like, I need to finish this thing. I am done. Anyway, and I was. Once I was done with this, I was like, okay, we're done with this. It was okay. So this was very interesting. I think there's a lot of fun stuff in here. I think this is great for those who do like very, very dramatic writing, very suspenseful, as in a lot of cliffhangers, changing perspectives, a lot of characters, a lot of exotic locations and exotic different way people do things, and very gray characters. I was very surprised about this. Again, it's called Wagner the Werewolf, so I have this hair that is bothering me. Okay, sorry. I thought Wagner, is Wagner the Werewolf. So I picked this up because I picked it for the prompt of reading something that was like a genre that I really love in the modern day here. So again, urban fantasy, paranormal related books are my favorite of the fantasy genre. That's just something I've always been drawn to, and I write. But I wanted to read one from the Victorian, and this is, it was really good. It was not what I expected in the way, it was fun in a lot of ways. There were some points where it dragged, where it was a little bit too much, but I guess if you're in a Penny Dreadful, you only get, a chapter or something for a really small amount, and so it wouldn't maybe seem to drag, but it did for me. But the werewolf part is so small compared to the rest of the story. This takes place in 1521 in Florence, and it has to do with Wagner being there, and also a family that's is a Count Riviola, and for the old Count is passing away, and he has all these stipulations on his will of who will inherit. He has his eldest daughter is deaf and dumb, and so she can't, he can't let her be the countess. So his son, who he has never liked, and we don't know why, and but he says he can be the count, but he's kind of under this provision until he's 30, that if his sister regains her voice and her hearing, then she will take over. So he's kind of like, it's all very twisted. And then there's this closet where he says you can't open the closet with this special key only on the day within the hour that you are married. And so there's this mystery on their family. We have Wagner, who kind of gets involved with the family after the old Count has passed away. And then it just kind of expands to people who are in the household and who they know, and then how they're all, and it's just crazy. So I've probably explained this. It's hard to explain because it is so vast in its cast, and it goes in directions I didn't expect. We get to go to Turkey, we get to go to a desert or a deserted island, and we get to, there are a slight supernatural, again with the werewolf part, but there's also kind of a demon involved, and it I don't know, there is so much in here. I totally recommend this for people who can withstand the 600 page. They're really short chapters, so it was really fast reading that way. And it moves really fast in the way the chapters are. It's just that sometimes there are some points where I was like, okay, we can move on. We can go to somebody else. We can see something else. Or the guys, they become very gray in the middle to the end. The way this went, it wrapped up really well. That's the part I did enjoy about this, is that, it was not like 100% perfect bow. That's not what I mean. But a lot of the threads that they started in the beginning, I was not sure we were ever going to find out that mystery. And it was really nice to know by the end we did get everything, or get enough. Like, again, you're not going to get 100%. I didn't think it was, but it was so much better by the end. The end was really good. I really liked the end. So the middle just kind of dragged a little bit for me, which is where I set it down for like a week and didn't read it. But overall, I think it was still an interesting thing, because again, it's not quite a sensational novel, because it's not to that level. It's not as good a writing as like Wilkie Collins and stuff, or nothing like Dickens and everything else, but it was so dramatic and so ridiculous in some ways. I laughed a lot of times at the things that they would get all dramatic about, and then there's just some people who were so bloodthirsty, like just people dying and killing all over the place. It was a weird book. I really enjoyed it though, and I'm glad I took a chance on it. Because I think I had to pay quite a bit for this copy of it. I think you can get it on an ebook as well. But I think I I'm glad it's done. Really weird experience though. Anyway, so by the time I finished that, I was like done with Victorian literature. I had just finished Shirley right before that, and again, that took me most of the month as well. So I got those two big books, kind of, that was it. As soon as I was done with those, I was kind of like, oh, I'm done. So, except again, well, I'll get to my audiobook in a minute. So then I kind of looked around and as I said, I put up a video talking about that my brain just wouldn't pick up anything else. I had 2 more Victorian books I really wanted to pick up, another Wilkie Collins and then a book I borrowed from my dad. And I just couldn't do it. Like I love Wilkie Collins. It was just more of I couldn't get myself to concentrate anymore on it. So I go, I need to read something else. So I decided to pick up my library books that had come in. Again, some of these I'd asked for in September or before that finally just showed up, or ones I saw somebody else just read or were going to read, and I got them. So the next 3 are books that I probably asked for in October, because 2 of them are spooky reads, and another one is one I saw in somebody's Nonfiction November TBR, so I read it early. Anyway, so the first book I picked up was Thornhill by Sam Smye. So I've seen this on so many people's booktube channels for years, and again, it's a graphic novel, but it has diary entries from, so there's 2 timelines. One is the present day of a girl who's just moved to a new town and a new house, and where she looks, the backyard looks over into an old like child orphanage home or something, so that had been closed since the early 80s, so, or mid 80s, sorry. And then the journal entries are from a girl who was there at the end when when it was being shut down, and what happens with her. So this is a creepy story. I got it because of Halloween. I was planning to read it on Halloween. I read it on, I think, Tuesday or Wednesday. And I read it all in one go. Because again, it is long with the diary entries, but there's so many pictures, you know, so it's just some creepy stuff. Anyway, it was really good. Except I did not expect it to be so sad. And I didn't like, I mean, I know why the ending went the way it did. That doesn't mean I have to like it. So I think overall it was still a really great book. I do know a lot of people really, really like this. I'm glad I got it from the library, and it's been on my list to pick up at some point to just read, and I'm glad I did it. It's, again, it was not a perfect book to me, but it was really well done with the drawings and the diary entries. I think it was really good. It just went a lot darker than I thought it would. I don't know why. It really twisted in a way that I was not, that I didn't want it to go. I guess that's what I want to say. I was trying to be hopeful, and that's not, it didn't go the way I thought it would. Anyway. And then, I don't remember if she read this one or, oh, I can't remember. But Shannon Ridler had, I think, read the Halloween Tree by Ray Bradbury, or she talked about, I don't remember where, I swear it was on her channel. So I apologize, Shannon, if I'm wrong, but I thought I saw her read a copy of the Halloween Tree. This one copy I got was illustrated by Gris Grimley. And this was like a book from 1972 that Ray Bradbury wrote, and it's kind of a children's young adult book about Halloween, and it has, as I said, it has some gorgeous, I just had it a second ago, has some really nice, really pretty pictures in it. It also has, and again, it's a kid's book, but it's more of a spooky book. I would say I was kind of surprised. So it has to do with 8 kids who go out on Halloween, and their costumes are awesome. And then one of the kids that they normally hang out with doesn't come out, and something's going on with him, and they have to kind of rescue him by finding out how Halloween started and where some of the themes came from. And it was an interesting look at Halloween and from history's point of view, and it was just fun. These kids were just fun with what happened, and you know, it was, I just enjoyed it. It was just fun. It was a neat read, and I'd never read this Ray Bradbury, so it makes me want to pick up a couple more books that again, I've read Fahrenheit 451, and I read some of his short stories in college, but I don't remember which ones I read. And I have not picked up Something Wicked This Way Comes, or what was the other book? Dandelion Wine, which is those ones are kind of ones I've heard about that I haven't picked up and read yet. So I do want to do that now, because I did enjoy that. Again, it was just a fun read. And then I picked up a book. I asked for a book like a couple days before I was going to pick up those from the library, and I had other ones that I took back. And I saw this on Laura at the Book Bubbler. I saw her, I think she had this on this terror TBR, and that is When Wanderers Cease to Roam, A Traveler's Journey of Staying Put by Vivian Swift. So I asked for it from my library and it popped up. And I was going to read this, like one of the first things I was going to read for Nonfiction November. Well, I didn't wait. I started reading this, I think, on Thursday. And finished it up on Friday. I don't know, that can be right. Yeah. Something like that. Maybe I started on Wednesday. I read a little bit. I think I read a little bit on Wednesday, a little bit on Thursday, and then Friday I finished it. Anyway, so this is a really pretty journal. So she goes through the month of, was very widely traveled. Vivian, again, it's a memoir, so she traveled a lot through her 20s and her 30s, and she has, you know, she has her history and story of stuff, but of where she went and what she did. And but this is talking about after 10 years of living in this town in, I think it was Connecticut. My brain just shut down. But off the Long Island Sound, she made this journal for that year, like a year of what things she saw and what she did and how she feels about each season and each month in that season and stuff. And it is gorgeous. I mean, I really enjoyed this book because it talks of, so she would have, like I showed like pictures, and then she'd always have like a journal of that, just this one page of like, a journal of what, like a couple of days during the month, what she did. And then she'd have like a travel log or talk about things that she did, in other places, like when she, lived in, I think when like, I mean, she was in like France a lot. She really liked France, and there's a lot of other places that she went to. And of course, right now my brain just went off of which ones. But she also draws like just odd things that she found, and a lot of pictures with her cat. She has like 5 cats, so I love this. Anyway, overall, this is really good. It was, I mean, it actually takes you a long time to read because there's all these pictures to see, and then all the her little writings, her stories and stuff. And I really enjoyed this. This was kind of a like. I just saw it on Laura's channel and just decided to go for it. Anyway, so I really enjoyed that. So I hope she enjoys it when she gets to it. I enjoyed it. I thought it was neat, and it was a cool concept for a way to talk about the whole year, because it goes from January to December, and it talks about that and her likes and dislikes of each month. It was really interesting to look at it. And her paintings are gorgeous. I just love all her scenery paintings, and it was just great. Okay, so those are all the books I finished. So let's talk about the books that I'm in the middle of. So this is the audiobook I'm still reading. That was for Victober, is The Tenant of Welfel Hall by Anne Bronte. I have the audiobook out from the library, so it doesn't say who the narrators are, which is ridiculous, but I can't find it. I'm at a page 358. So I'm about 170, I think. About 170 from the end. And I really don't want to continue. Oh my God. Again, this is much farther. You can see I stopped here the first time. I stopped here the second time. So I'm really a lot farther in. I'm much farther in. But I don't like this book. Oh my God. Again, I think it's not... The writing is great. Don't get me wrong. She writes well, and her characters are very well formed and stuff. There's a couple things that I'm like, some of the characters are pretty, maybe just cliche to me now. Maybe not, it wouldn't have been then, but to me it feels like. But my problem is that this reads very much like, I think I want to say contemporary fiction, which is a problem for me because it has to do with it. You know, I don't always get along with stuff that's just all relationship stuff. Like, as in, okay, so a lot of the romances I do read, or a lot of the books that I read, have like another element to it. There's multiple things going on, and then maybe there's a romance in it, or maybe there's drama with people in it, you know, or conflict in that way. But there's something else. I don't know. There's something about contemporary fiction which is really just about mostly relationships that I don't connect to. It's mostly because it's just too modern. But this feels like that, but in that time. So it's like a historical fiction, but not doing any of the fun things that I like, which is like have a mystery or something. I don't know. Well, at least to me, it's not much of a mystery. We're learning about Helen in the part that I'm in, and what happened to her before she came to the area that she lives in. And I mean, I'm not explaining this book because I don't know what to do about this. So I'm 170 pages from the end, and I just want a DNF. But again, speaking of classics, I always try to finish ones that I've really started that I feel like I should finish to know the end so that I can talk about it later or to understand what other people talk about with it. I don't know. I just feel like I need to finish it. So I have 5 hours left on the audio. I have to do some filing at work tomorrow, which means I'll be away from everybody else and I can wear my headphones. And I'm probably going to try to get an hour or so done at work tomorrow. And then I'm going to maybe try to get an hour done every day until I get it done. I just want to get this done before it's due next Sunday. So I have the audiobook. So I just want to get it done. I have 5 hours and I listened to it at 1.5 speed. So I'm hoping, you know, about 3.5, 4 hours, you know, that I'll get it done. I just need to get it done. But it started it. Like, it's just me. Like I think the last time I listened to this was on Thursday when one of my coworkers left. So I was by myself in my area. So I could just listen to it. It was awesome. I got like an hour and a half or 2 hours done that day. I was so excited. And then she came back and I'm like, oh, I have to, I take my headphones off because they're like, why do you have your headphones on? Oh, okay, guys. Anyway, I'm not explaining this well, nor the story, you know, as I said. But the point is that I want to DNF this so bad, but I'm 170 from the end. You know, I'm 68% of the way through, I think is what it is. I don't know, something close to that. And I'm just like, I just want to be done. So hopefully by the end of the week, that'll be done. So maybe next week I'll be able to say, I'm done with another Bronte. We'll see. But that's my only carryover for Victober. Again, I didn't plan to read or listen to that this month or in October. That was a complete change to my audiobook lineup. I decided to do that because I had such success with finishing Wuthering Heights that way. And I thought, well, maybe I can get the 10 to Waffle Hall done the same way. And I'm close, but I'm not done yet. Anyway, so let's talk about the book that I am possibly going to DNF, which really am going to DNF. I don't know. I'm on the fence. I might give this one more shot. But that is the third book in the Embers of War series, Light of Impossible Stars by Gareth L. Powell. So I really liked the first book and the second book. I thought they were really well done. These are space opera, or well, they're space stories, you know. So they have to do with a crew that works for the House of Reclamation, which means they are kind of rescue crew. They go out, they have this really big ship that called Trouble Dog, who is sentient and who was in a war like 4 or 5 years before that, and was just devastated by the destruction that she helped do to a planet. And so she and her crew are a lot of people who were involved also in that war. So they all had their backstories. They all decided to go leave the militaries of where they were with, and they joined this crew in order to go out and help people, because that's their kind of making amends for how they felt what happened during the war. So, and then it goes on with their going on a, you know, in the first book, it was like a cruise liner kind of goes off course of where they're supposed to be, and they kind of get in trouble and get attacked, and they go to rescue them. And all these things happen, and then it kind of carries over into the second book, which was really good, which went in directions I didn't expect it to go. It was very interesting. So the third book is the end of second book. You go into the third book because the second book was a big climax, and it's, you know, you're just like, oh, okay, they're going to go and do this now. So I don't want to talk about what it is because that's spoilery. But then this book did something weird. So we start with the first couple chapters, which is the main crew, which is great because those are the characters I have known and loved already in the first 2 books, and I've gotten to know them and I like them and I want to see what happens with them. And then we spent like 50 some pages on a new character 4 years before all this happened. So we go back in time, and my issue with this is that she was 16, and so suddenly it's becoming a coming of age story at the end of a trilogy that didn't have anything to do with that person in the first 2 books. So it doesn't make any sense. We have this new character, new crew, new thing, but it threw me off. So again, the second book did kind of the same thing where it was another crew that got into trouble as in the first book. Again, the people who were on that cruise liner. Then the second book, there's another crew that something happens to. And then this one, but it's not the same way. I don't know how to explain this, but it's driving me crazy and I can't read this. I don't want to know about this young woman and what she's going through because this doesn't make any sense. It's not the story I want. I want to know what's going on with the crew that I know and what's going to happen in the future of what they're going to do about the baddies in the story. And so I don't know what to do. So I've gotten 94 pages in. It's only 350 or 60 pages. And I don't know if I should just start skimming because we've returned to her now 4 years because we had her 16-year-old self, which was anyway. And then now she's 20 and she's again in another crew and she's doing stuff. And it's already so far it's just kind of like teenage-ish stuff that I don't want to read about. I don't know. So I'm having a lot of trouble with this one. I don't know if anybody else has read this series and they can tell me that just to push through and it'll be better. I'm ready to DNF this and say the series is done for me and I don't care anymore because I don't care about this character and what she has to do with anything because it isn't interesting to me. That isn't what I was reading this book for. It's taking the focus away from the characters I want to read about. And I guess that's what's upsetting me. So I don't know. Anybody read this book? Let me know if I should continue or if I should just let it go. Because I'm ready to just let it go. It's a library book, so it's not like I can't get it back. But I really want to finish the series this year. I have a couple that I want to get done before the end of the year that I started this year. And that was one of them because I started in September, read the first 2 books, and really enjoyed both of them. Anyway, so let me know. And then the book I picked up by whim yesterday because I did not want to read that book was The Blacksmith Queen by G.A. Aiken. So I bought this book last year, just pre-ordered it because I like her dragon books. She has Actually Dragon and About a Dragon. And I've read, I only read the first book actually, and I haven't read any others by her, but her other pseudonym is Shelley Lawrenston, and I loved the Call of Crow series, and I still have to read the Honey Badger series, which is on my shelf. So I need to get to that because after reading this, I definitely want to go back and read those because I need to read more of her books. So what I'm trying to say is I've only read 4 of her books, and I bought this. This is another. So she does her dragon one is also a romantic fantasy as this one is. So I definitely wanted to try it. Well, the second book in this series comes out at the end of November, and I've already pre-ordered it. So I thought, you know what? I might need to read the first book before that book comes out, because I might not want it. Well, I want it. I mean, again, I still have 100 pages. It's only a 300-page book, and I read almost 200 pages yesterday. I love this book. So this book is, again, it's a romantic fantasy, but I would say primarily it's a fantasy, but it's a very light fantasy. This has a lot of, okay, so this is very comedic. Let me tell you, she is a great comedian writer, but she writes it in such a dramatic way and everybody yells and screams and is just, they're just great. I don't know how to explain this. The Call of Crows series, which was more of an urban fantasy, was exactly the same way. Everybody is just nuts and they all just react very wildly and crazy, but it's fun. It's just fun. And this is the same way, but with fantasy elements. So we have a kingdom where the old king has died and he has like a dozen sons or something, maybe more than that, I don't know. But the sons just start killing everybody because they want to take over who's going to be the next old king. And the oldest 3 sons have all parts of different armies, and there's also 2, I think 2 others that got away. But everybody else was killed. A lot of their mothers, a lot of the younger ones were killed with their mothers. So there's a lot of people dead in the castle. And there's there's a prophecy that pops up that a woman, like a commoner, is going to be the next queen. And so the two older princes who want to be king want to get either one of them wants to kill her, or one of them wants to see if maybe he'd just marry her so it'd be a legitimate kingdom kind of thing, or to be king and queen. Anyway, so but then it switches and it goes to the family of the girl who's supposed to be the next queen, and we meet Keely, who is a blacksmith, and she is great. I love her so much. She is one of those upbeat people who, very focused on family. She lives with her family. She has a huge family. Her mother was a blacksmith. She took over for her, learned her skill from there. Her dad was a soldier who now is a farmer. And so she had, and then they have she has 11 siblings. And so she's 27 or so. I think that's what I figured out, the age-wise. So she's, very settled in who she is. And she is very much one of those people of, right and wrong kind of thing. And she helps a young boy who is caught by some soldiers who are stringing him up for no reason, just to see him die. And so she pretty much attacks them. And then somebody else comes to the rescue, which carries on the story from there. Oh, this was just so much fun. It's so, there's so many things that happen. I'm trying not to explain too much, but it is a light fantasy, but it has elements of fantasy, definitely for sure. But the world building is not huge and complex. Don't think, again, you have to say, I love my Tad Williams and Brandon Sanderson and other people like that who just huge world building things. This is very light. There's world building, and I want more of it. So I'm looking forward to this trilogy being complete, so I get to see things. Because the next 100 pages, we're going to meet some other things, and I'm so excited of what's going to happen. But it's in little bits, and it's more of a light political, but it's family stuff, and it's also but it's so outrageous. So don't go into this thinking this is going to be. I don't want to also say light and fluffy. There's a lot of action in here. A lot of blood and guts, not super described, but there's a lot of killing. There's a lot of action. I love this. It's just dramatic. Again, if you like the Call of Crows series by Shelley Lawrenston, her other pseudonym, it's like that, but it's fantasy. I love this. I am so glad I picked this up. I've been staring at the last month thinking, God, I really need to pick that up before the next book comes out, because I don't even know if I want it, because I bought one of our other series, as I said, I bought the whole thing, and I've never read any of the books, so I need to read those this next year. But I am so glad I picked this up. I'm enjoying this so much. It was just what I needed. So I'm hoping to finish this off today. I have 100 pages left, so I'm going to probably finish it, and then I will be looking forward to the next book coming out, I swear, unless this ending just sucks, which I hope not. And again, this is listed under romantic fantasy, but I gotta say that it's very light on the romance so far, so I don't go into it thinking it's going to be, lots of fantasy, a lot of romance. So far it's not. Again, I won't know more till I get to the end right now, but I like it what's happening. It's still, again, it's action, it's funny, it's outrageous, and it has, which is, again, I don't really like outrageous that often, but for some reason her humor I get it. I don't know, I just love her stuff, so maybe that's just me. I just love it, because most of the urban fantasy and most of the fantasy I read is not funny, except for again, Terry Pratchett's a whole nother different kind of funny, but this is it's hilarious, and it's over the top, it's just ridiculous. So anyway, oh my gosh, I'm talking way too much today, but it's just been that kind of week. Anyway, so let's just talk about the two books I think I'm going to pick up first for Nonfiction November. I'm probably going to pick up later today once I finish that other book, is For the Love of Europe, My Favorite Places, People, and Stories by Rick Steves. I love watching Rick Steves on public broadcasting. I love seeing his stuff on traveling in Europe, and it just, it's been fun over all the years that I've watched his show. So here and there. So again, I bought one of his other books. I really enjoyed that. That was much more of if you're going out traveling, how to do it in a way that, shows you the best advantage kind of thing to do that. But this book is supposed to be his stories about stuff, and it it has, again, it's like a travel book. It's definitely the copy, all the what do you call it? glossy pages. I mean, there's still lots of text, like, don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of pictures too. So it's still going to be a long read, but I'm looking forward to this one. I want to read more about his thoughts. Again, he writes really well, so I'm looking forward to that. And then the other book I think I'll pick up probably later this week is A Buzz in the Meadow by Dave Golson. I've been wanting to read this since Springathon, when I finished A Sting in the Tail, and it talked about his 33 acres in France that he turned a meadow. He just like returned it to nature, and I want to see all the bugs and stuff. So that is it. Oh my gosh, I've really talked on today. So anyway, if you guys have read any of these books, let me know. Any of them sound interesting to you? I know I kind of rambled about several of them, so sorry. Anyway, if there's anything you've liked recently that you think I would, let me know. Or if you're interested in any of these. Anyway, please remember to vote if you have not already. Again, it's just a couple days away. We'll see how it all goes. Anyway, I will talk to you guys later. Bye.